Hey, travelers, I'm very happy to be coming with my first interview for this series on how to plan your Disney vacation. And I'm here with Stephanie Peters, and she runs specifically Stephanie Peters Autism Travel. But today we're going to be doing just on using a travel agent in general. And we'll have a second video on disability travel and how that works at Disney World and what you should know if you are going to be going with someone that needs some special assistance to the theme parks and really Disney World or elsewhere, and how to use a travel agent for that. So awesome, Stephanie, it is so good to have you here. This is really our first time meeting, so thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself and your story before we dive into it?
Sure. So my name's Stephanie Peters. I am actually a kindergarten teacher during the day. So I'm very familiar with little kids. And I used to be a Disney character performer. So I used to actually dress up like the princesses, go to kids' birthday parties, sing, do the whole thing. So I've always loved Disney, always loved kids. And what really got me started was every year now, I seem to have more and more students who have autism. And when I think about the Disney parks, I'll be honest, just not a lot of resources out there for those families. And so when I became a travel agent, I knew that that was an area that I really wanted to focus on because those students do mean so much to me. And so that's where I started Steph Peters Autism Travel to try to get the word out that it is possible to travel to Disney and, create those magical memories that I've been able to create with my own family.
Awesome. How long have you been doing it now?
So I'm going into my second year, and things have been going really well. I actually just sent my very first autism client down to Disney World. And it was so great seeing her messages come in because they were there over New Year's, which is like the craziest time to go because it's so crazy busy. But her son really loves to use fireplaces to desensitize. And it just so happened to be that the Disney resort that I put them at has a fireplace right at the entrance. So she was sending me photos of and videos of her son sitting there with the fireplace, being able to really enjoy the parks, and just those little things that really make a difference
Yeah.
that typical people wouldn't think of.
So for those, we'll get more into the disabilities travel and DAS and how all of that works in our next video. So make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to turn on the notifications if you'd like to see that video. But just as a travel agent in general, let's talk about what all does that include? Is there a cost associated with it? What all do you guys do for your clients? And when should someone use a travel agent? I'll tell you, for me, I live in Houston, so I do have to travel to Disney World, but my family owns a tour company, not a travel agency, but we take school trips to Disney World.
Oh, that's so fun.
So if anybody's looking for that, it's blueridgetours.net. But I'm used to working with hotels. I usually have like some sort of personal connection, and having an annual pass, I just don't really have a lot of opportunity to use travel agents myself. But when would somebody want to, and what kind of stuff do you all do?
Yeah, so when I first booked my very first Disney trip, I had no idea. I knew I could do it, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I actually found a travel agent myself. And it was just really interesting because I had no idea how they worked. Just like you were saying, I had no idea if I needed to pay them. Like I just had no idea of how that whole system worked. But what I realized is that travel agents really take all of the planning for you, and they think of all of the little details. So they help you with, booking the actual reservation, which hotel is going to fit best with your family and your needs. The transportation aspect, whether that be, the Disney transportation that's provided, or do we need more transportation, the flights. Some Disney agents even will do the dining for you, which is huge considering the vast amount of dining experiences that Disney has. And they
the fact
do
that you have to wake up at 6 a.m. to on the East Coast. So if you live on the West Coast, to book
and I'm
dining
Central Time,
reservations.
so Central Time is 5 a.m. So I'm more than happy to do that for my guests and my clients. But I think what's interesting is all of these services are complimentary when we book your package. So it doesn't cost anything extra. And when I was first using my travel agent, I had no idea that these were already provided. Now, what's really interesting is whether you book with Disney directly or book through me, you're getting the exact same price. Now, what happens and what most people don't realize is how travel agents actually get paid. So when you book a Disney vacation, Disney already has a set amount of money set aside for a travel agent, whether you use one or not. Now, if you use a travel agent, the travel agent gets paid. And if you don't use a travel agent, the company just keeps that for themselves. So you're basically paying for the price of a travel agent, whether you're using one or not. So my thinking is, why wouldn't you to get all that extra support and all those resources that come along with it? Now, when someone does book with me, I keep track of all of those deadlines, when your payments are. If you want to make payments, I can set that up monthly. I keep track of when your dining reservations are going to open. If I have a client who does have a disability or wants to sign up for DAS, I will let them know when that window opens. So I really keep track of all those deadlines for you. And then I also provide my clients with an entire guide to the parks and what they look like. So all of the rides in each park, all the dining in each park, where you can meet the characters. It goes into an extensive list of everything that you would need to know regarding Disney. And again, all of that is completely complimentary.
That's fantastic. So, give me an example of someone, let's say family of four. I think that's the most typical what we hear of when we're hearing from planning is 2 adults, 2 kids. What's the process that they would go through of providing you information and then diving into what all they would need for planning their trip?
Yeah, so the very first step is I always do a consultation call. So I actually get them on the phone, and we talk through, how old are your kids? What are they really into? Do they like character themed rooms, or would it be better to not stay there? What's most important to you, having dining on at your hotel or the transportation? So I really get to know each family and their unique needs. And then once we're off the phone, I'm able to go dive into the Disney site, plan which resorts I think would be the best fit. And then they're able to actually look those over, kind of decide and talk together about what they think would be best. And then from there, we book.
And I'm going to have another video up on all the different types of hotels and, going through the value to the moderate, and et cetera. So, what all do you think people should look for when thinking about that hotel experience?
It's just so unique per family. I usually recommend starting at a moderate resort. That way you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. And my favorite one to recommend is actually the Destino Tower over at Coronado Springs. I've stayed there twice now. It's my husband's favorite resort. And we usually recommend just doing the standard view there because you're actually able to see Epcot and Hollywood Studios from your room. So you're able to see the nightly fireworks. And then they've actually got a really nice rooftop bar there. So you can even take your kids up there, get some little appetizers. So they've got really great restaurants. The pool there is fantastic. So I think overall, that's usually the one I start with recommending because it's that moderate, but it's got some deluxe resort little details in there.
So you talked about how you guys are paid. Are you guys paid on the tickets, the hotels? What all are, just for people interested in really like where? So let's say I'm wanting to use a travel agent, but maybe I don't want to use them for everything. Someone like me that's fairly experienced in travel. But I don't want to go to my friends and say, hey, can you book the dining for me? Because I don't think you guys are actually paid on booking dining. So and that would be kind of, for me, I feel like that'd be kind of rude. I'm like, I'm not going to use you for the things you're paid for, but I'm going to use you for the stuff that I don't want to wake up and do. So like, what specifically like areas do you got? Just wondering for people out there so they can plan. Maybe if you actually want assistance from a travel agent, maybe not on everything, but you want it on some things, like making sure, be polite people, be kind people, even with your friends. Don't just use them for the hard stuff. Use them on the things they can actually get paid for. Now, to be fair, some travel agents do, and I think it's up to the travel agent. I don't think this is a good or bad thing. They do charge extra for some of those things, right? And I think that's up to them. That's not a good or bad thing. So that's going to be dependent on the travel agent. But what specifically are you guys paid for that's already included in the price? It's not going to be extra that people can consider or should consider.
Yeah, so if we create a vacation package for you, usually that consists of a resort and tickets.
Mhm.
Now, we get paid on tickets if it's 3 days or more. So if you're staying at a resort and you only want 2 day tickets, we would only get paid on the resort portion of that. Now, some travel agents, like you said, do charge what they call a planning fee, and each agent would, charge whatever they felt would be best fit. But typically if you have a reservation in a package that has 3 or more days of tickets and your hotel, then everything is already included in that.
Oh, good. That's so any on-site resort, right? So you don't really get paid. I'll be honest. I stay at like a lot of. It doesn't can like the Swan Reserve or the. Do you guys get I guess commission on those as well,
Yeah,
or
we
does it
do.
have to be a Disney owned resort?
Yeah, no, it can be an off-site resort as well.
Okay.
So any type of resort with Disney will work just fine.
Oh, does that include? We're going to talk about the friendly neighbor hotels. Does that include those as well?
It does. And even for Disneyland as well, the Good Neighbor resorts work. Yep.
Fantastic. And I will be going to Disney World covering their stuff very soon. So make sure to subscribe and like that. Speaking of, I'm going to take a quick break here with Stephanie and talk to you about our sponsor today, which is me. I am the sponsor for today, and but specifically the Fat Tested Travel Guide. If you are a plus size person and wanting to go to Disney World, then make sure to check out the go to fattestedtravel.com. I'm trying to figure out how to actually share my screen. I'm not sure. Oh, that's how I do it. And I'll show you guys what all is included. So you'll come to this site here. If you don't want to sign up, you can actually just get the free guide. But also included in it is the confidence booster. You will also get there's so much included on this. You will get the checklist and guide. I think this is one of the most important things for people. You'll get how to use Genie Plus, because I actually go in the afternoons to all the parks and still ride every ride that I ever want to ride. The do's and don'ts of a packing list and a resource guide to Orlando, and your general vacation savings guide, which gives you a ton of different tips on saving money for going to Disney World. So I think for all of this is only $7, and I think it's a fantastic value for everything you're going to get there. And so I hope you'll check it out at fattestedtravel.com. And if not for yourself, then consider getting it for someone else. All right, back to Stephanie. So what else should people know when they're looking at booking those hotels, looking at booking like the travel? You talked about the first thing go through the process.
I think the most important thing for clients that would help out travel agents is having set dates already in mind. I know a lot of times clients will come and say, I'm free the whole month of June, but then that's too broad of a space. So having set dates that you're willing to go, and then also thinking about budget ahead of time. I know a lot of clients will come to me and they'll say, I have no budget. And then I'll give them quotes and they're like, oh, that's way too much. So I think knowing exactly what your budget is, exactly what your dates are, is going to really help your travel agent be able to create that unique experience that really best fits your family's needs.
And do you, for looking at the dates, we actually did a full video on when to travel at Disney World. People can go check out that video if they want to find the times that they want to consider, or the times that may be a little bit closer, lower levels for Disney. But what all do you recommend for choosing dates? And I guess again, that depends on the family.
I was just going to say it depends on the family, but the months I typically recommend are the late January, early February, because it tends to be one of the least crowded times. And then also early September. I was actually able to go this last Labor Day weekend, and it was really great because the crowds just weren't, as much as they usually are, especially for, we usually go in summertime. So even that Labor Day weekend, a little bit later in September is really great. And what's nice about that September time too is you're actually able to do the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, if that interests you. So kind of a good way to kick off fall.
And I actually just did the week after Thanksgiving, and it was very slow as well.
Oh, good.
So anything else we should add for people looking to hire a travel agent?
I always say not to shop around for travel agents necessarily, but to really find the one that's got your best family's interests at heart. Especially my families with disabilities. All travel agents can book clients with disabilities, but I think really finding the one that really has the knowledge and really knows what they're talking about, especially when it comes to DAS, which resorts are going to fit best for, especially for those autism clients, I think is really huge. So making sure that whatever agent you choose truly has your family's best interest at heart.
Fantastic. Stephanie, how can people get in touch with you?
My email is the best place. It's Stephanie Peters at Hyatt with an I, magicalvacations.com, or you can always find me on TikTok at Steph Peters Autism Travel.
Fantastic. And I do follow her on TikTok, and that's how we met and communicated. And I will also be including all of her links down below so you guys can find her. Stephanie, thank you so much. We're going to do another video with Stephanie specifically on disability travel, autism travel. So make sure to stick around to come back for that. And I will see you guys in the next video.